thank you very much for all organizing committee who has invited me to be the keynote speakers in this video event. If the first presentations we have talked about assessment, and then the second we talk about related to language education, and then the third we talk about applied linguistics, and then last we are going to talk about literature. So talking about literature, actually, many people think that this is all discussions, all issue. Is it still relevant using literature for English language teaching in our EFF classroom? So today I'm going to do reconciliations to discuss about utilizing literature for English language teaching in EFF classroom. Before that, so what is culture actually? What is literature actually? So if you talk about literature, we know that literature and language are the product of culture. So actually, we cannot separate between literature and language because both of them are a part of culture. Literature uses language to deliver the message. Language needs literature as the learning materials in the past. But in 1970s, when new teaching strategy is introduced by the expert, that is a communicative approach, teachers is forced to use functional language. Means that instead of using literature, teacher should use such as magazines, such as news, such as everything related to functional communications. But actually, so is it still relevant when in 21st century learning we still use literature in our English language teaching? But everyone believes that when language has been growing, literature is also growing. So both of them actually are growing. So I'm still sure that literature still have an important or crucial role to develop English language teaching. So actually, what is literature? I took the definitions of literature from Cambridge Dictionary online. So literally, literature is written artistic works, especially those with a high and lasting artistic value. So in this case, I highlight in 3 points. The first is a body of written works. The second is an art form, and then the third is a high and lasting artistic value. If we talk about a body of written work, it means that literature is a works that are written. And then an art form. If we talk about art, we talk about innovation, creativity, and imaginations. That's why when the artists want to write literature, they need to focus on their imaginations, their creativity, and innovations, of course. And then we can also say that literature is a high and lasting artistic value. Of course, I'm sure that everybody has heard about Romeo and Juliet. Even Romeo and Juliet was written in 1567, if I'm not mistaken. Means that long time ago. But I'm sure that there are some people, or many people, who still know about the story of Romeo and Juliet. That's why we can say that literature is a high and lasting artistic value. Even we can say that this is everlasting value, that we can still know the meaning of the story even though it has occurred long time ago, even 500 years ago. And then next, what's our types of literature? So in Old English era or in Anglo-Saxon era, we know only poetry, the literature that had been developed at the time. And then move to the Middle English period, we know prose and drama. And then prose and drama had been growing for a long time. But nowadays, in the digital era, literature also developed. Start from drama to be novel, long story. So the artists want to have good innovations to be novella, not too short story, not too long story. And then the artists innovate their creativity and create short story, a story that can have been finished in one sit time, and then again the artists innovate with graphic novel or comic books. Means that there is additional part that is added in the story. Not only written words, but also a picture. And then it is also developed with non-fiction, such as biography of popular people. Then the news literature in this modern era is electronic literature. Maybe many of us know about Line Webtoon, Wattpad, MyTune, the applications that provide modern literature that we can enjoy without buying printed books. So it's very cheap actually. Next, so why the literature should be used in language teaching in 21st century learning? So even though this statement has been stated in 1987, but I still think that this theory is still relevant until now. There are some reasons why literature should be used in language teaching. According to Corley and Slater in 1987, they say that literature is valuable, authentic material. What does it mean? Authentic. It means that it is genuine. It is not fake. It is not plagiarism. So if we talk about authentic materials, we need to pay attention in order to creativity, imaginations, and then the newest words that we can write. And then next is cultural enrichment. Of course, since literature is the product of culture, so the content of works will bring cultural value. For example, if we watch Korean drama, and then we know about the culture of Korean people, the name of the food such as tteokbokki and kimbap or bibimbap or any other. So literature provide cultural enrichment because when they develop the materials, there is cultural items that are included in the works. And then the next is language enrichment. Corlians later point out that literature increases readers' receptive vocabulary through extensive reading and provide earnest content of vocabulary skills too. Of course, because literature is created from language. Of course, by reading literature, we study about language, we study about new vocabulary, we study about structure, grammatical structure, we study about coherence, cohesion, so that the story of the literature can be understood easily by the readers. That's why by learning literature, we can elevate our language level. And then the next is personal involvement. Of course, we still even know that especially my mother. When my mother watched a movie, then the end of the movie has sad ending, and then my mother also cried. It still happened with my students in the class. When I invited them to watch a movie, cinematic movies like that, and then the end of the movie is a sad ending, and then they cried. So in this case, literature involves the readers or the audience to feel what happened in the literatures. Next is real world center. Of course, I've ever had my students who really want to be like Naruto, someone who has been ignored by many people, and suddenly they become the hero of the village. And then in this case, it's motivated my students to be like that. So if we talk about literature, we talk about real world center. Sometimes what happens in the literature, we also want to happen in our daily life. And then literature is a universality. If we talk about universality, it means that literature can be enjoyed by all people around the world. Why? Because the theme of literature is very common, such as love, friendship, humor, and many others, that it encourages us to, I can follow the story of this literature, for example. And then the last is motivating. Of course, that's on the experience, my experience itself after reading book Hairul Tanjung, Si Anak Singkong. It motivated me to be as like him, someone who has started from zero to be someone, maybe you can say that he is one of billionaires in Indonesia. Yeah. So sometimes by reading the literature, it can motivate the students especially to do what the characters do in literature. So in this case, of course, I want to integrate literature in English language teaching. I'm so sorry, I'm not the expert of literature actually, but in this case, I just want to share what I did in my class by integrating literature in English language teaching. So actually, in English language teaching, literature can be used in all classes, in listening classes, speaking classes, writing class, or reading class. For example, in listening and speaking class, of course, literature can improve listening and speaking skills of students. How can it be? Here, I usually use, before I introduce my material, there are three strategies that I usually apply in my class, such as cinematic English. In this case, I invite the students to see the movie together. But before that, I always build vocabulary for my students. It is very important to help them understand the difficult vocabulary that suddenly happen in the movie, for example. Building vocabulary, sometimes I provide some difficult vocabulary, and then after that, I invite them to pronounce together. So I train them to do pronunciation practice. In pronunciation practice, I invite my students to repeat after me. So sometimes I give the examples first, and then my students repeat after me. And then after that, we can see the movie together, or we can read the story together. And then after that, I also employ collaborative approach. Sometimes I divide my students into some groups or even peer. So to discuss about the experience when they watch the movie. It is very important to train them so that they want to speak. Not only listen what the characters are speaking in the movie, but they also practice by speaking with their friends. And then the most interesting sessions when I teach speaking class or listening class, I really like to hold role play sessions. Yeah, and then because in these occasions, pretend as if they are the characters of the characters in the movie. So it makes them to be real. And I also try to use tasks to invite them or to help them so that when they speak with their friends, they have guidance. So I think it is very useful. And the next in reading class. In reading class, I'm sure that literature still can improve. Students' readings can apply in our class so that the students can improve their reading skills. But usually, I'm sure that
Hello, Pak daripada. Alright, everyone. Something on the yes. Okay, yes.
Okay, can you hear me? I'm so sorry.
Okay, it's okay. You can go.
There's bad signal in my house. I'm so sorry. Okay, so let's continue about integrating literature in reading class. So usually in my reading class, I use comprehension questions. So the comprehension questions, it can be made by myself or it is taken from the book actually for the reference. Yeah, and then after that we can also play guessing meaning or difficult word from context. Because of course, when we read the story, sometimes we suddenly find the difficult word. And in this case, I train my students to guess the meaning based on the context. And then the next that we can do in our reading class is identification of phrases, such as noun phrase, verb phrase, adjective phrase, and etc. And then the next is identification of spatial expressions. Of course, because this is not our native language. Of course, the native language will write the story by using their native language. So they usually use such as idiom, and then because this is a story, sometimes they include irony expressions so that we can follow, we can still feel what they want to deliver the message from the literature. And then in these occasions when COVID-19 attacks us so that we can hold synchronous class, we can also use asynchronous class. How can it be? We can use extensive reading. We can utilize many platforms that arises because of COVID-19, such as what I said, Webtoon, Wattpad, MyToon, and etc. And then we can also integrate literature in English language teaching in writing class. How can it be? Sometimes I invite my students to breaking up long sentences. So if you find long sentences in the story, for example, that is difficult to understand for my students, I try to break it up to be shorter. so that it is easier understand rather than they should understand in whole sentences. And then we can also play changing sentences to train the grammatical activity, such as if you ask her, it is positive, simple present. Please change into negative, simple present. So we can say, you don't ask her. Or we can also use, if you can make sure that your students have understood related to the materials, we can elevate the level. We can elevate the level from writing sentences. Maybe start from simple sentence, and then next be complex sentence. So we can elevate step by step in writing sentences. We can move to writing paragraph. Yeah, in writing paragraph, of course, the students should pay attention related to like cohesion and coherence. It is and then the last, if you can make sure that your students can write good paragraph, you can elevate the level once more. It is in writing short story itself. Even you can develop by writing novella, novel, or script of the drama, for example. Then I also highlight that we can not only integrate literature in English language teaching, but still we can integrate literature in ELT research. So, technically speaking, if we talk about literature, we talk about materials, right? Materials. So, in this case, related to the role of literature in ELT research, I divide into two kinds. The first is literature as learning materials to improve student skills. The second is literature as the object of the research. So for the future researchers, if you still confused thinking about the title of your final project, your undergraduate thesis, maybe you can think of it. You can think about literature as one of medium that we can use to conduct research. The first is literature as learning materials to improve student skill. Here I took Supitri 2019, who has investigated the effect of English comic webtoon on students' reading comprehensions. Of course, Supitri used modern literature to elevate students' reading comprehensions. In this case, why Supitri used English comic webtoon? Because the students felt unenthusiastic when they started reading class by using conventional teaching. Even I myself, if the teacher always used conventional students, they enter the class and then they tell the story, they only read the books without any activity, yeah, it makes the students bored or unenthusiastic to follow the class. And then Supitri said that a webtoon digital comic is available for free and then easy to use and can make students interested in reading. That's why Supitri conducted this research. And why? Because a webtoon digital comic can be used digitally and virtually. As I said before that in COVID pandemic, our meeting is limited, by the government. So it's a little bit difficult to have a meeting with our students. So webtoon digital comic can be one of many that we can use. And then the result of this study indicated that the mean post-test score shows 77.33, was higher than the mean of pretest score. So it indicates that alternative H was accepted, or alternative hypothesis was accepted. That indicates the endless comic webtoon can improve students' reading skill achievement after giving treatment. And then the score of T-count is bigger than T-table, 22.826 versus 4.064, and then significant two-tailed 70.05. That indicates that again alternative hypothesis was accepted, and then alternative hypothesis here means that there is significant improvement of reading comprehension achievement between the students who are taught by using English comic webtoon and these who are not. And then the next is literature. This is us, the object of the research. So we can not only use literature as the learning materials, but we can also use literature as the object of our research. Of course, in this case, we should integrate with multidisciplinary fields, such as we can use morphology, phonology, translation, for example, so that we can conduct a research related to the literature. Nurjana 2019 conducted a research entitled Metaphor Translation Strategies in Pioneer's Novel and Inhalations. It indicates that not only modern literature that we can use, still, even old English literature we can use as the object of our research. Why Nurjana conducted this research? Because of the development of literary works and translation is growing rapidly. As I said to you before, that the growth of literature is very sophisticated, and then translation is also. So that's why this issue can be conducted, can be researched. And then by analyzing the metaphors in the novel, it hopefully can give the commonest metaphors used in the target language translations. So what is the result of Nurjana's research? It indicates that the mostly used strategies are the metaphor is replaced with a standard target language that does not clash with target language counter occurs 92 times. And then the second is the metaphor is reproduced with the same image in the target language occurs 61 times. The third is the metaphor is translated into a simile occurs 37 times, and then the fourth is the metaphor is translated into simile plus meaning occurs 27 times. So that's on Newman's theory related to translations. Newman said that there are 7 ways in translating metaphor. So there are 3 ways that were used in these occasions. So to close my presentations, I just want to underline that literature is still relevant even as the learning materials or as the object of our research. Literature has a high value because even though the works have been created long time ago, still the students or we ourselves still remember about the story itself. So I guess that's all for this presentations. Back to the moderator. Thank you.